Thought that I was playing in the past, now I'm super fast, real raw, relevant. I'm also known as super bad, with a super attitude. If you don't like it, you can book a pass and be the first in line to kiss my. Wait a minute, what I mean is I'm a lion, not a sheep. I don't need a weakling around to try to follow me. I'm destined to be better, get it bigger every day. I don't got the patience to sit around try to play. Focus like an animal, king of the.
My friends, welcome to the Revolution Podcast. I am Sean Whalen. Glad to have you here. Glad to have you here for another episode. It has been one hell of a week. I've been traveling. Things have been fantastic. I've had mom in town. I've been spending time with mom. Before we get started today, do me a favor, friends. If you're listening to this, no matter where you are, no matter how old you are, no matter how cool you think you are, tell your mom you love her. I don't know your family situation. I don't know if mom's around. I don't know if mom has since gone to the other side. But I can tell you one thing. I absolutely love my mom. And I was a troubled youth. I was a hellion. And my mom always stuck by me. So those of you that have your moms around, those of you that have the ability to pick up the phone and say hello, do it. Make it a regular thing. Call your mom, tell her you love her. My mom has spent the last week out here in Utah, and it has been an absolute pleasure to not only have her around, but to be able to take her out on the Harley for some rides and to go down to Moab and to go camping. And the one thing that I am absolutely certain of, my friends, is that you and I eventually will meet our maker, and so will our parents. And I want to ensure that my mom knows everything about me, as much as I can share with her, as much as the universe will allow us to spend time together. I try and create as much as I can. But if you have beef, if you have drama, if you have, I don't know, unresolved shit, resolve it. Resolve it. Be the bigger person, if you will. I don't care what mom did. I don't care how crazy the story is. You know, you're only going to have one mom. You're only going to have one dad. And that was not what I wanted to talk about today on the podcast, but it's just on my mind because I've been with her for the last week, and I would feel like shit for the rest of my life if I knew that I stayed angry at my mom for something, if I didn't share things with her, if I didn't treat her like gold for putting up with me my entire life. So, friends, before we jump in everything here today on this podcast, text your mom. Just tell her you love her. That is it. That's all I wanted to share about that. Patrick's like, okay, great, we're done. Wrap this one up. I wanted to share something with you, friends, that I see happening all over the place. And I've been speaking more. I've been out working with more companies, doing a lot more, one-on-one coaching and working with organizations. And I'm seeing some really, really, really interesting patterns. And I had a chance to be out in South Carolina this last week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago. And there were 25 of the top agents for this insurance company. And these are the top 25 earners, top 25 policy writers for the entire nation out of this company. And so they all do very well financially. The conversation that we had really wasn't geared around like how to make more money. It was really a fascinating experience because there were these 25 agents, and then there was a number of other, the CEO of the company and a number of other people from other partnerships that they have that were there. And these are all very well-to-do individuals. And what I mean by that is they're, very high six-figure, seven-figure a year earners, which, is a very comfortable living. And what I found really fascinating is this. And I see this not only in organizations, but I see this on social media. I see this all across the board in a lot of the clients that I'm working with and a lot of people. And it's simply this. We are really, 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 really consumed with what other people think of us. And I want to let you in on a little secret. Most of the time, what people are thinking about us, number one, has nothing to do with us, but it isn't true. And let me tell you why it's not true. It's because you're not telling people the truth, okay? Now, I'm not calling you a liar. I don't know you. I don't know who's listening to this or who's not listening to this, but I want to share this experience specifically. There was a gal there who was the top. She was the top agent. She got the top award, got the big thing the night before at their big dinner and the whole deal. And as I was sharing this 6-hour training with this group, we were chatting and we were really digging into some deep, heavy shit. And really, this heavy shit is the internal stories, the internal truth, like what we really want, where we really want to be as individuals. And as I was chatting with this woman, like, she started to really open up halfway through the day. And by the end of the day, I mean, she had essentially completely ripped herself open. And she dumped some things out there on the table in front of this entire group that she had never told anybody before. She had never shared any of these things with anybody before, including her own husband. And this was a really powerful moment. But what I found really interesting is that, number one, nobody in the room knew any of this about her, for good cause, because she had never talked about it. She had never shared anything. And so all of these people had this idea and this image and this thought process around this woman, right? And you know how this is. You've got friends, you have family, you have coworkers, wherever you are, and people have built these social contracts with you. They think they know who you are based off what you put out there. But the real question is what are you putting out there? Are you giving people the truth? Do people know who you really are? Do they know what you're really afraid of? Do they know where you really are in your life and your personal journey and in your health and your wellness and all of the things happening with your family and your kids? See, this entire group of people knew this woman as, like, she was the baller. She was the top agent, the big swinging ding dong of the organization, and it was really, that's who she was. And as she opened up and shared these things, it was a really beautiful experience to watch, because a couple different things happened. Number one, she became just extraordinarily liberated. She dumped some stuff out and shared some things and got rid of some things that had been in her life for over 30 years, which had been really weighing her down. But what's really interesting is I'm talking to this group of people. None of these people in this room knew these things about her. But what's really fascinating is as we carried this conversation on, I said, how many of you think differently now about this woman? And this gentleman from the other side of the room, like, yelled out, "I fucking love you even more." And all these people started to cheer. Now, this is some dark stuff that this lady shared. Okay? This is a very business setting. This is a very professional setting. And she shared some really, really personal things that she had never shared with anybody. This whole group of people knew her as she had portrayed herself to be. And what she had portrayed herself to be was a very good image. It was a very good, idea of who I wanted to be, but it wasn't who she really was. And as she started to open up more and more and more, what I found really fascinating is that we as a society, we as people, we fear the judgments of other, obviously. We obviously fear the judgments of other people. We don't share what we share because we think we're going to get judged. But here's what's interesting. You're going to get judged either way. See, this group of people thought that they knew who she was and thought this is who this woman is. And as she started to share, there was some really dark shit that was being released and talked about. It was really, really a cool experience. And maybe one day we'll share some of the video from that. But what's fascinating is that as she shared these things, the group of people that she was with, her peers, actually respected her more for sharing this darkness. Like, this group of professionals actually respected her more because she was able to share this dark shit. And what was really, really beautiful to watch happen is not only did she become liberated, I said, look around the room, nobody here is judging you. Like, every single person in here now has an even deeper level of appreciation and respect and trust and admiration for you. But what it allowed other people to do is not only see her in a new light and see more of her truth and see who she really is, but it also allowed them to do the same thing. And I'd have you consider for a second, my friends, that the image that you've put out there, the persona that you put out there, your success, your wellness, your business, your accolades, like, what are you telling people? Are you telling them the truth, or are you telling them an image or an idea or a persona that you think sounds cool or that you want people to buy into? Because here's the thing, if you're not sharing with people the truth, you know that they're buying into a lie. Now, they might not know it. None of these people knew these deep, dark secrets that this woman had. They would have gone forever not knowing it. She could have just gone to the hereafter, and that would have been it, and nobody would have known. But here's what's fascinating is she was carrying around this burden thinking that people would think less of her. And the opposite actually happened. The people in her space, her coworkers, these people that she had worked with for years actually had a far deeper respect and a far deeper love for her because of this experience, because she opened up and told people the truth. It liberated her because she now saw that yeah, my darkness is real. Yeah, my past is real. Yeah, I've got these things that have gone on that are intimidating, they're big, they're heavy. But that's who I am. That's where I've been. That's what where I've come from. And this whole group of people were like, "Well, shit, we didn't know that about you." And the fact that you would share that with us, and we now see like how this has affected you, like we love you even more for it. The question I have for you guys listening to this right now is like, who are you to people? Like, what are you sharing with people? Do they know who you really are? Or have you built an image and a persona and an idea that you've sold people that they bought into? Because at the end of the day, they won't know any difference. They won't know it. They won't know it. And if it's really bad and if it's completely inauthentic, people will smell that shit from a mile away. But what's really interesting is the person being harmed, if you will, the most, the person carrying around the most baggage, the person carrying around the most shit, the person struggling the most is the person that just isn't willing to tell the truth about who they really are, where they've really been. See, you can lie to me and you can pretend that you're this or you're this or you've done this or you've done this, and that won't affect me going and hanging out with my kids. That won't affect how I sleep tonight. It will affect you. But what would it look like? What would happen? What would it take for you to be able to start sharing who you really are? Like your truth, like who you really are, like what you really feel, what you really believe, what you're afraid of, the mistakes that you've made. Because I'd have you consider for a second that this room of executives, this room of successful people, didn't think any less of this woman. In fact, when she shared this really heavy, dark shit, it actually bonded them even more with her, and they grew in affection with her. So perhaps for a second, you connecting with more people, perhaps for a second, you gaining a greater, relationship with coworkers and people around you is putting this bullshit image that you think is cool, is successful, is bulletproof, is unshakable, and just tell people the fucking truth. Perhaps that missing key, the missing component to your success and your liberation and your happiness is the fact that nobody knows who the fuck you really are. So, my friends, ask yourself that question today. Like, am I really true with people? Am I really telling them the truth? Or have I built a facade and have I built a persona that's so wrapped up in my own lies and my own fear that no one really even knows who the fuck I am? Shit, most of the time I don't even know who I am. The remedy for this, the opposite of this, the successful journey, the opportunity that you have is to be able to literally like dump all the rocks out of this bag that you're carrying and tell people who you really are. And I'd have you consider for a second that the people that are meant to be in your life, the people that are supposed to be there, your coworkers that are real coworkers, that are truly about growth, the family members that truly love you, the more truth you share, the more reality you bring to the table, the closer you'll be with them. The more respect they'll actually have for you, the lighter you'll feel, the less burden you'll be carrying, the less bullshit you'll have in the back of your mind. So try it. Try it. Tell people who you really are. Tell people how you really feel. Test it. Put it out there. The high tide lifts all the boats, my friends, and I can tell you that I have made it my mission to share what's really happening inside of me and what's going on. And sometimes it's really cool and enlightening and powerful, and sometimes it's dark as shit. I tell people I think about suicide. I have suicidal thoughts all the time. There's no bullshit around that. Some people can say I'm weird. Some people can say I'm crazy. I don't really give a fuck. But the more I share these things, the more I share what's really going on inside of me and who I really am, the more I realize and see that there's a lot of crazy ass people that are just like me. And there's probably a lot of crazy ass people that are just like you. And so stop lying. Stop thinking that you can't tell anybody any of these things, because I'd have you consider that a lot of people are also dealing with some crazy shit. And if you really want to bond with people, if you really want to make an impact, not only in this life, if you really want to free yourself and experience a fucking beautiful, enjoyable life, instead of walking around feeling like you have to hide from your past, hide from your mistakes, just tell the fucking truth, man. Just tell the truth. Dump those rocks out and watch what happens. My friends, make it an amazing day. Thank you for listening. Thank you for following the podcast. Please subscribe. Please share this with your friends if you get value from it, if you feel so inclined. And until next time, my friends, be safe. God bless America.
My people, it's time to move out. Show 'em what we do now. They say that work seems so hard to follow. I am not a role model, only a teacher. Teach 'em when the school's out. Preacher man preaching to each his own. Mano, we mano, fly away.